My brain felt like it was gonna explode. It got to the point where I was torn in so many directions that I couldn't move forward. I was paralyzed and it just felt like that I was drowning in a sea of advice, just really unable to hear my own thoughts. One day, I felt this sinking feeling inside of my stomach. It was a feeling of disgust. I no longer loved what I did. I no longer recognized who I was. I no longer loved my life. One of the biggest problems that I see today is that people have lost touch with themselves and with who they are at the core. They're looking everywhere else for the answers when the answers are already within. And they've started to place their trust in others instead of trusting in themselves. Let me share a personal story, and I believe that many of you can relate to this in some way, shape, or form. I've always been that person who surrounded themselves with the dreamers and the doers, surrounding myself with those who could help me realize my dreams. Family, friends, different coaches, different mentors, surrounding myself with different resources to keep growing, to keep learning, books, watching YouTube videos online, or attending different trainings and seminars. If there was something that I needed help with, boom, it's like I tap into my immediate network. And then if nobody there knew the answers, that's okay, because click of the mouse, I could find it on the internet. Or if there was something that I needed help with in my business, I go find a coach or I go find a mentor who had been there or who had done that. Somebody who could shortcut the path for me. And it's been one of the best things in the world, just having access to all these cool, amazing people sharing with me all their knowledge and all their wisdom. But something interesting happened along the way. And it happened really subtly, especially in the past few years as I've been building my online business. Instead of feeling more confident and clear about my path and my actions, I actually felt the opposite. So I felt more exhausted and I felt more lost. And as I started to have more success and more exposure online, there was this pressure. And there's this pressure to get it right, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, and to speak a certain way. And every time I tried to make a decision in my life, all I could hear were these different voices in my head. And all these different people, all these different resources, these trainings, all telling me this and that. And so one voice would be saying, you need to show up every day on social media and be networking in all these different places. And then another voice would be like, go get that 7 figures in the business. And then it's like, you got to work with more people one-on-one. You got to start working with groups. And then you got another voice here, meditate more, incorporate these affirmations, do some form of physical exercise every single day. Or you got to keep learning. You got to keep growing. Here's another training. Here's more information for you to apply. Here's more. And while you're at it, you got to read this book. In fact, you got to read these 10 books. Readers are leaders. These books will change your life. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And this isn't even counting the emails or the text messages or the other forms of information that were grabbing for my attention. My brain felt like it was going to explode. And it got to the point where I was torn in so many directions that I couldn't move forward. I was paralyzed and it just felt like I was drowning in a sea of advice, just really unable to hear my own thoughts. And then one day I felt this sinking feeling inside of my stomach. And it was a feeling of disgust. I no longer loved what I did. I no longer recognized who I was. And I no longer loved my life. So I decided to take a step back. I traveled, I unplugged, I reconnected with old friends and old colleagues. I tuned out the external noise of society and what society was saying that I should be, or how I should be, or how I should act, and all the things that I needed to be doing in order to be happy. And I started to listen to my body and what it was saying and what it was telling me, because up until this point, I wasn't listening. And now I needed to, because it was killing me from the inside out, and it was affecting all the other areas of my life, including my health and including my relationships. And the moment I started listening to my body, that's when I started to feel calm again. That's when I started to feel more energized. And I started to feel more certain in my decisions and what was right for my own life. Because when you're really stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, it just means that you're out of alignment. You're not doing the things that you know are right for you. You're not listening to your body, and you're not listening to yourself at your core. The things that bring you joy, the things that resonate with you and just feel right for you deep within. And whether that's in your health or your wealth or your relationships, they're all interrelated and every area needs to be addressed. And say that you're focused on one area of your life and you have all your energy on building your wealth, on building that business, on making that 7 figures, doing all those things that you're told that you're supposed to be doing to achieve that wealth. And then what happens is that you potentially neglected your health. And so our health becomes less of a priority, which interferes with us building our wealth. Because if we don't have our health, if we're not taking care of ourselves, how do we have anything to give to others? And then we have all these relationships that are no longer robust, that are no longer these strong relationships filled with this meaning and this connection, because things are all out of whack. Things are all out of balance. Because when you can trust yourself in all areas of your life, that's when you're living in alignment. And that's when you get to create a life that you love, because you actually trust yourself to make the right decisions according to what's true for you. And how do we know that we trust ourselves? It's when we're living in alignment with the things that matter most to us, whether that be our health or your wealth or your relationships. And if any one of those areas is out of balance or out of alignment, we can fine tune it and just get it right. And so as we go through this podcast, as we continue to progress through these different episodes, we're going to go ahead and explore what it means to live in alignment. And that regardless of what social media and what the world is shouting at us right now, that we've got to tune in. We've got to tune into our bodies and start to trust in ourselves so that we can optimize this life that we have in front of us, because the life that I want is different from the life that you want, which is different than the life that somebody else over there wants. And that's my mission, is for you to create your next breakthrough and to understand who you are so that you can align to that. And here's a special thank you gift for our listeners. We're all about getting you into alignment so you can live a life that you love. It's a breathwork meditation that I highly suggest that you do. Go through it, experience it, and just share with me the results. You can access it at www.createyournextbreakthrough.com, or you can check it out in the description below. This has been your host, Edmund. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.